there, Pat Brackenberry here. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator, and I also run a group called the Crafting Bunnies. I'm just going to show you a very easy card that you could probably put together. It's using a stamp set called Snowman Season, which is an old stamp set, and it's quite straightforward. So to start with, what you need is a piece of basic white cardstock that measures 21 centimetres by 14.5 centimetres, and you're going to score it at 10.5. Once you've done that, put it to one side, and then we'll use that as the card base in a little while. Excuse me. You should have, after you've cut that card base out, you should be able to have some extra cardstock that you can use for the next panel, and this panel is 8 centimetres in width and 14.5 centimetres in length. That's the piece that we're going to stamp straight onto in a minute, but first of all let's just do the other two elements that you're going to need for this card. Piece of DSP, I've chosen to do one that's got like a weave effect on it. Obviously you choose one that you like and what you've got. You could find something in your stash, in your scrap stash, so if you've got one of those. And this piece is 5.5 centimetres by 14.5 centimetres. So with that, and the last piece you need is a piece of foil. I've chosen a pinky coloured foil, and this is 1.5 centimetres by 14.5 centimetres. So those are all the elements that you're going to need to make this card. The only other thing you need is the stamps. So the stamps from this card set that I've used, I'm taking this snowman, I'm using Let It Snow and also Merry Christmas, and I'm also going to use these snowflakes as well. And the inks that you're going to need for this card, this particular card, you're going to need the balmy blue for the snowflakes and the real red for the Merry Christmas. In addition to that, it will be Memento. Right, so let's get stamping. I'm going to start with the main image, I think, and that's done in Memento. And then we can go from there. A bit more, you can see that that's it. So that image is going to go right in the centre of the card, so the grid paper is quite useful to line up as well to make sure you're central, and stamp that directly onto that panel. And then once you've done that, I'd add in the words Let It Snow before you go any further, because obviously you need to make sure it fits. So again, Memento, and I'm going to pop that on that side. Put the lid back on, obviously, because you don't want to end up with ink all over the place. So after that, I'm going to take the balmy blue for the snowflakes. Obviously, if you don't have this stamp set, you can, I'm sure you've got something in your stash that you could use that would give you the same effect. And maybe a bit up the top of it as well. Okay, so that's the balmy blue. The only other one we need to use now is the real red, and I'm going to use that for the sentiments. So I want a bit of scrap for that, so just move that to one side and bring in the real red. This is quite an old stamp set for me, and I've used it several times, so I've got to be very careful when I'm stamping that it doesn't drop off, which is quite often the case. It makes a bit of mess, so I'm just going to stamp that on a scrapper piece of white, and then I'm going to cut that out in a second. There we go. So that's all the stamping that you need to do. So next, let's have a look at the image and see what we need to colour. So I'm going to take crumb cake. I'm going to use light pumpkin pie, and I think I'm going to use a bit of pool party as well. Okay, so there's really only the three images. Maybe a bit of smoky slate to just emphasise the buttons on him and the coal. So, and that's the light smoky slate. So let's start with my smoky slate. And just round his buttons as well, and possibly the base of his snowfoot, just to give it. Yeah, I think he's just going over the coal for his mouth just a little bit, just dotting it, just to make it a little bit more obvious. So with regards to the crumb cake, I'm going to use that for these stones along the bottom. And just where's shading as well, just to, and then his nose needs to be orange, obviously. We all use carrots for the snowmen and their noses, don't we? So now I'm going to take the pool party, and I'm just going to add some pool party. This is the light pool party, so I'm just going to add that along the bottom in strikes. Okay, quick bit of colouring, didn't take long, did it? Okay, so now to assemble. So assembly, I'm going to start first with the DSP. So this is, I use glue, using glue for this one. So and that's going to go. I'm going to leave a bit of a border on between the crease for the fold of the card and the actual panel. And then I'm going to take the foil and I'm going to stick the foil to the card. Now I do it in a way that makes it easier, so you don't end up with lots of glue on the actual foil. So if you turn it over and just pull a streak of glue on the back, and again using your grid lines you can hopefully get it lined up and it's straight, and then just lie the foil and don't push down until you're absolutely certain it's straight, obviously. And once you're quite happy, I can see that that's slightly wider this end, so just nudge it, and that's it. And once you're happy you can press down. That's it. And then that is going to go on top of there, but I'm going to leave a bit of an edge on this side this time. So again, some glue. And just put that on straight onto the card, making sure that obviously you can't see the DSP that you just put on, but also making sure that you've got it straight. And that's another reason why using the hashes, you can line that up quite nicely on there and make sure that your borders are exactly where you want them. Just maybe a slight adjustment, and then, because obviously once you press down it's fixed. Now I can see a bit of glue has weeped out, so I'm just going to take a kitchen roll and slide it down so it gets rid of that. So now to deal with the sentiment. So the sentiment I'm going to cut. You could use your trimmer if you wanted to, but sometimes line of sight and a big pair of scissors, obviously. And trim it down, not cutting the letters off, but as close to the letters as you can possibly get to without chopping them off. So, and I'm going to cut the letters into, the words into, because what I want to do is use some dimensionals. Use some large dimensionals and just add a few to the back of them. Use my tweezers, it's easier to pick these up. So just a couple of dimensionals on one word and probably about 3 on the other one. So that's kind of in that space at the bottom. It fills it up quite nicely actually, so that's quite good. And just pop it. Okay, so now all that's left is to put some gems on to finish it off. So there we go, one card to add to all my other Christmas cards that I've made over the last few weeks, which I suspect you are in a similar situation. You do run out of ideas, so it's quite nice to pick up on ideas from YouTube. So anytime you're passing, drop in, and don't forget to subscribe below or above, whichever it appears on your screens. So, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye now.